Alright, so I'm literally about to go out to the shops to do some shopping, and I just thought to myself, at some point I've got to do a review for Jekyll and Hyde, don't I? And then, just like that, I realised that Jekyll and Hyde is the reason why I've had like a fucking recording dry spell. Like, very, very rarely, like I've had a few games where I've dreaded playing them. There have been some games that have just been so unpleasant to go through, I've just kind of gone, oh, can I do it later? But no, Jekyll and Hyde actively made me stop enjoying recording for like a good week and a half. So you know what, this is a one take, sit down and just expunge, fucking disgorge my fucking brain onto a recording. I'm just going to slap it up with a basic placeholder. No fucking animation for this game. This game does not fucking deserve it. Anyway, this is a game that attempts to go for a dark, fantastical look with a kind of fairly basic platformer tone and completely botches the execution on every level that really matters. A game built for Microsoft Windows and then was going to be ported to consoles, which immediately rings some alarm bells in terms of how the fuck are we expecting to sell a platformer on PC in fucking 2001 when we're like Gen 6 for consoles? Like, 3D platforming had been a thing for quite a while at that point. There was no need to try and do it for Windows unless you were trying to just release on a budget. But Jekyll and Hyde suffers from every single conceivable problem a platformer can have. Awkward camera control, stiff jumping, terrible combat with no sense of like texture or feedback to it whatsoever, and a sequence of levels that kind of veer from labyrinthine to utterly disingenuous. There are some level sections, some levels specifically, where you can tell there are huge swaths of content that isn't useful whatsoever, but ends up being in the end game, I'm assuming, because development was so rushed by the end of it, they just had to slap whatever they possibly could together and whack it on a fucking disc. I have never experienced quite so much frustration. And I'm speaking from someone who has never developed a game, and naturally criticising game developers when you have no experience in the field is spotty at best. You can still call out bullshit when there's bullshit there, but you're not necessarily supposed to go into like the deep background and criticise them for shit you have nothing to know about. But it really feels like a rushed third draft of a game. Like, everything's functional to a degree, but the quality of life of this game, the actual entertainment factor, is really only there for the hardcore masochist who just wants to finish off a gaming session by taking the tip of their cock and slamming it into a fucking freezer drawer. Like, there is no part of this game other than the end credits where I actually felt some degree of catharsis. Everything felt unfocused, it felt utterly disjointed most of the time. There is just no part of this game I felt any kind of kinship for or any kind of sympathy for. Normally I can find at least something to like about even the worst game. No, not with this. This felt like a bunch of people who could have made something good end up just spunking out this watery, half-baked mess. And yeah, that's all there really is to say about it. It is incredibly hard to find this game, let alone play it, and I highly recommend you don't. If you have 8 hours of your life you want to fucking spaff away in some meaningless, self-destructive... I don't know. If you want to just ruin your day, do what I just said. Slam the tip of whatever sexual organ you happen to possess in some kind of food receptacle for 8 hours. And you will still end up less fucking broken than I was by finishing this fucking game. That actually felt good. That actually was like... That just got some shit off my chest. Oh, man. I'm so glad. Deleting this, I think, was one of the most profoundly pleasant experiences I've had when it came to interact with a computer. But anyway, that's all it really is to say. It doesn't deserve any more. So thank you very much for listening, and yeah, bye.